Welcome back to Without Shortcuts. Today we are making soft pretzels.
Pretzels seem like one of those things that's way too complicated to make at home, so you just look forward to going out and walking through the mall and getting that nice big pretzel.
Right.
Like, it's a highlight of going to the store. But they're really easy, and when you're done, you've got a whole stack of them, so you can just eat as many as you want. It's a really good thing to do at home. It's a really good thing to have extras of laying around the house.
Right. Now, and as you can see, I mean, it's only a handful of ingredients to put these things together. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is bloom some yeast in some warm water. We'll just let that sit for a minute or so in the water, and then we'll keep on going. It's going to be the longest minute of anybody's life.
You've heard the proverbial expression about watching paint dry? This might be worse.
It's possible. This is approaching grass growing.
Eventually.
And time.
Count it.
All right. So that's going to go into our bowl. Make sure we get all the yeast in there.
Very nice.
All right. And then to that, we're just going to add some salt, sugar, and a little bit of melted butter. Now you can use white or brown sugar in this case. The brown sugar just kind of adds a little bit different flavor to it. If you want a little bit more of just like neutral tasting dough, go with the white sugar. We'll just give those a mix just to make sure everything is all happy in there. All right, and then from there, this is gonna go onto the stand mixer. And then we're just going to use the dough hook, and we're going to start adding our flour about a cup at a time until everything gets mixed together.
Now this recipe calls for between 3 and 4 cups of flour. So you can start with 3 cups, and then that last cup you're going to only add some or most of it until you get your dough to the right consistency. So we'll show you exactly what that consistency looks like, but just know that you're going to need a little more than 3 cups and hopefully not the full 4. So that's 3 cups of flour into the dough. It's still just too loose. You wouldn't be able to roll it out. You wouldn't be able to form it into the right shapes, anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead, 1/4 cup at a time, just slowly start adding this in while we mix it up until we get to the right consistency and texture.
So our dough is at the right consistency. It didn't quite take the full 4 cups of flour. We had just a little bit left. And that'll change depending on weather and who knows what else. But ours is looking good. If you're doing this in the stand mixer, you've already kind of got the kneading process started. So once you get to the right consistency, let it run for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then you should be good to go.
And this is totally possible to do by hand. Just mix this part in a bowl, stir it up as well as you can. Once you get it mixed and you have kind of the right consistency, just pour it out onto your counter, onto a floured surface, and just knead it by hand for 5 to 7 minutes, something like that, until you get that nice, stretchy, chewy consistency that you're looking for.
Yep.
Once you hit that, we'll let it rest for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and shape them and move on.
While your dough is resting, the other thing that we need to do is make a baking soda water bath for these pretzels. That's what gives your pretzels that actual pretzel flavor, the pretzel texture. You can also use something called sodium hydroxide to do this, but that's not something people generally have on hand. So we're going to use baking soda. So all you need is 9 cups of water into a pot or some kind of big pan, just something that it doesn't have to be super deep, but you want something nice and big because you want to have room to dip your pretzels in here. And then once we get this just barely up to a boil, then we'll add the baking soda in here. All right, so our water is just starting to come to a boil. So we'll add in the baking soda. Alright, just a little whisk just to make sure everything is dissolved. And then we'll just keep this hot on the stove until we're ready to use it.
Our dough is rested. We've got our baking soda concoction on the stove warm and ready to go. The next thing we need to do is just take our dough. We're going to pour it out onto our counter. First, we're going to flour our counter up a little bit. A little on my hand. And then from there, we're going to divide this into between 8 and 12 pieces, depending on how large you want your pretzels. So we're just going to do that with a bench scraper. There we go. We're going to go with 8. And then these you're just going to roll out into ropes about 20 inches long. And then we'll show you how to form them into the actual pretzel shape.
Tell you what, this takes me right back to kindergarten.
Making snakes.
That's right. And snails, because those were the only 2 good things I could make.
And you want them to be fairly even, but if you're going to have an inconsistency, make them thicker in the middle and thinner on the ends. Make sure your ends are nice and tight so they're not fraying out. Ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. So you're going to make a U shape. So the bottom is facing you.
Heyo.
And then you twist the top and then just bring it down and attach the bottoms right to the bottom of your U. So when you twist them, make a complete twist and then bring it down.
And
beautiful.
pretzel.
All right.
Good time to mention, it's worth preheating your oven to 400 degrees before you start this process here too. With all the pretzels formed, the next thing we need to do is we need to get them dunked into our soda water bath.
Right. So far, we have pretzel-shaped bread, which is great and probably delicious. Now we're going to make them into pretzels. All right. So you're going to take your pretzel, very carefully set it into the water, and then this is going to sit in here and it's going to boil. You only want to let it go for 20 to 30 seconds. That's just enough time to do what it needs to do without adversely affecting your flavor. And then once that's sat in there long enough, take a spider or a slotted spoon, whatever you have that you can use to scoop those out. Let them drain just a little bit. And then we're just going to set them out onto our parchment paper. And then just rinse and repeat with the rest of your pretzels. Okay, and then as these are sitting here on the cookie sheets, while they're still a little wet and tacky, go ahead and sprinkle them with a little bit of salt. Once you've got your pretzels boiled and they're salted, they're just going to go into a 400-degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes. You just want them to be nice and golden brown.
Our pretzels are done. We took them out. We let them cool for a little bit so they're edible and ready to go. As you may have seen last week, we did a nice beer cheese recipe that we're going to dip our pretzels into. You can see we have the correct ratio of cheese to pretzel here on the counter. You are going to want a lot of this, so go ahead and make sure you have a bit. But we're going to go ahead and give this a try and see what we have.
All right.
Just by itself, that's delicious.
Good chewy pretzel texture on it. Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. Let's give this a shot here.
Wow. Okay. You have my attention. Yeah, wow. There's so much flavor in that cheese sauce. with, I mean, with the number of ingredients that are in it, you wouldn't expect that. But every single one of those ingredients plays so well together, and then it really complements the pretzel. I mean, we all know kind of that distinctive pretzel flavor, and oh, it's just like it's a little bit of kind of a malty flavor, and with the beer and the onions that are in that cheese sauce, wow, that's good.
Yeah, and then the saltiness of the cheese also kind of brings it out and makes the whole thing kind of bloom together. This is super easy. I mean, and if you were to buy the cheese sauce at the restaurant in the mall, the little kiosk, this would be about $395 worth of cheese sauce at one of those places. And it did not cost that much to make, so
No.
definitely worth making your own. And like these two together, if you were having like a Super Bowl party or just, you know, getting some people together, if you had a stack of pretzels and a big bowl of cheese dip in the middle of your table, I don't think anybody's going to complain about that.
No, and nobody would leave the table.
That's for sure.
So give these recipes a try. Let us know how it comes out for you. Hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. And finally, our TikTok, I think, is up and running. So check that out as well. Let us know what you think. And until the next time, skip the shortcuts.
Thanks, guys.